If you've been following my Instagram, you know that I got a last minute keynote opportunity in Timisoara in Romania. When I mean last minute, I mean that I got the confirmation on Wednesday 8 p.m. and I flew out 8 a.m. on Thursday. I did some Googling to understand what I could see and do and eat in Timisoara, because I thought if I'm already there for 2 days, I might as well extend it to 3 days and enjoy leisure, which is business and leisure, which is what I do to traveling, right? But actually, there wasn't much out there. So in this vlog, I want to talk about how I landed the opportunity in the first place, things to see, do and eat in Timisoara, and why I think it's the next capital that you should be visiting, especially when you're thinking of going to a Prague or a Tallinn in Estonia. The flight from the UK to Timisoara is actually once a day in the morning, direct with Wizz Air, which means you get to take the smallest cabin bag possible, and it's from Luton. It was so early in the morning that I had to take a cab there, and Luton at that point was going through renovations, so walking through the airport. Timisoara is located on the western side of Romania, reasonably close to the border of Hungary and Serbia, and it's actually where the revolution started. Day one, contrary to what we believe when it comes to business and flying out for business, I stayed at the hotel the whole day. Now, the hotel was a 4 or 5-star hotel in Romanian standards. It was a beautiful hotel, very small, very private, but it was very old school. It was very quiet and peaceful. The room also was spacious, but didn't have like a smart TV, didn't have USB charging ports. Not that you need that, but that's just what I'm kind of used to because I business travel so much. We made it, yay! On first reflections, it seems very cool. I have been to Romania before, but I've been to Bucharest. It kind of feels a little bit more like Estonia. From what I remember, Bucharest was a little bit bigger and a lot more established. So this is a university town. I'm just gonna have a meeting with the client, then rest and chill for a little bit before going out for a wander and getting the presentation ready for tomorrow. It is a presentation for the University of Timisoara, and Timisoara is a university town, so full of students, young people, ambitious, driven, who just want to smash it in their life, and hopefully that's where I fit in. But apart from that, it's all good. So I'm sitting in the outside patio of the hotel, and there's music playing in the background, and the sun is out, and I have to spend the next few hours doing the presentation. So it's on the ethics of AI. We're going to touch on Spotify and the fact that you can translate one language into others, and how that will impact us learning languages in the future. Drake using Snoop Dogg and Tupac AI in one of his songs, and what that means for artists, creatives, and even royalties. And even the fact that most of us use AI and don't realize it, Google Maps being a really good example. I've also found out that there's a dinner tonight, so I don't really have any plans today except just vibing outside, getting this presentation done, going for this dinner with like 30 to 40 industry experts from all around the world. So we're here winning, but also it's a little bit nerve-wracking, which means that I just want to do things the right way. And I have my cheese, my peppers, my tea. So I'm not gonna bore you by recording myself working. I know that's what some people do, I'm just not here for it right now. But once I start going out and about and exploring, then you can come along with me too. At the end of day one, I was invited to the speakers event, so I went to the speakers dinner. And by the end of the night, I had the pleasure of sitting with and dining with Garry Kasparov, who is one of the world's chess champions. Day two, I woke up fairly early, and before I do any kind of public speaking or presentation gig, is really about having that morning ritual. Before I just finished off my presentation, just to make sure that it was where it needed to be. I'd already sent what I needed to the day before, but this was just ensuring that it was 100%. And I went to the conference. So this morning, woke up and had a really good breakfast. I'd say good, it was okay actually. Croissant cheese and about 2 cups of tea, went through my slides. I'm currently off to the conference now. So it's Tech Talks with the University of Timisoara, their biggest tech event actually of the year. Gonna listen to some great speeches, meet some cool people, get myself centered before I go on in a few hours, and then we've got a speaker dinner tonight. I don't think I'll get to see so much of Timisoara today because it is quite heavy and I'm working, but on Saturday, which is tomorrow, I have booked myself a tour, so hopefully that will be where I actually get to see the city, enjoy the sights, and just learn a little bit more about the history, especially because the revolution actually started in Timisoara, and so that's interesting, and I want to learn a lot more about that. Not that I'm a history fiend, but it's always good to know what's happened in the past, and then it helps you learn more about the future. Hey, do you want
Welcome
to say
to Romania.
Thank you. What's nice to do in Timisoara?
It's a big city. It's a very nice city with a lot of people.
I love that. Thank you so much for having us. On that, we're going to talk about AI and ethics. And actually, should we even care? Who here actually cares about AI and the ethics behind AI? Hands up. What I'm going to say is that's not all of you. So I'm grateful for the people that were brave enough to say, don't really care, not really sure what it is. I'm going to help you find out. As a point of introduction, my name is Sonya Barlow. I do quite a lot, but it's all about inclusion, accessibility, and representation. I'm going to let the other videos speak on the conference for me, but it was a great event. I heard so many awesome people and their case studies and how they're using artificial intelligence and what good tech looks like, and I was just absolutely blown away. Day 3, which is the actual day in Timisoara. So if you had one day in Timisoara, this is what you should do. I woke up and went on a walking tour, and I definitely recommend a walking tour, especially by one of the locals, because they know what you don't know. So from Victoria Square, the National Opera House, we walked down Umbrella Street, which is a street full of umbrellas, and went to Union Square. And it's one of the most popular places to go out, to eat, to drink, to enjoy. We sat there for lunch, taking in the sights, taking in the sunshine, eating, drinking, enjoying, and learning about the history. There's a lot of statues in Timisoara, and each one has its own historical story. Most of them actually have a context to technology and the idea that technology is connecting us but also ruining our lives, because it means that we're always just online. Obviously, we're watching YouTube now, you can see. After Union Square, a group of us walked to the Rose Park, which was really pretty. Now, the Rose Park had fresh flowers, and they were putting up construction for the summertime where the concerts were going to be. And then from there, we walked to the Bega riverbank. Now, apparently it's a Timisoaran tradition to go and sit by the riverbank and just have fresh lemonades. We sat there for hours talking, vibing, getting to know each other, because I was in a small group. And you could see in the river, there was people doing kayaking and boat tours. And, there was like a boat taxi. So it was just really interesting to see and people watch. After we parted ways, I walked back to Union Square, and I found myself in a vintage car exhibition. And I actually really like cars. I like old cars. I just like the look and feel of cars. So it was really nice just to see vintage cars in Romania, in Timisoara, and the owners. Yeah, I just spent hours basically thinking about the car that I want in the future and manifesting my best life. That's what I was doing there. I'm now just walking around, enjoying the vibe. Gonna go and find myself maybe a nice coffee to drink with some dessert and see what the locals eat and what their sweet tooth looks like before probably heading back to the hotel for a little bit of a nap before I come back out in the evening. That is it. I think it's definitely somewhere to come for a weekend, Friday to Sunday. Great, chilled out. It's probably a different spot or alternative to like a Vienna or a Prague or an Estonia, or just it's a little bit unknown despite being cultural capital in 2023. And it's definitely got such a cool vibe. I mean, look, there's just streets of colour and people. And I've just come to the opposite of where I came to earlier in the Union Square, and it just looks magical. Like, look at these buildings and the colours. Don't they just look beautiful? So I found this really nice family-owned small coffee shop. Both husband and wife actually have a full-time job, so they do this as a side hustle. They create desserts which are not only typical Timisoaran, but also from their own family. So I had a nice chocolate cake and a tea. From that moment, I asked the locals, because that's a great thing to do, about what shall I visit and what shall I see? Everyone said the botanical park. So I'm expecting this botanical park to be amazing. So one of my last stops today is the botanical park. which is about a 7-minute walk from the centre. Most, if not every, Romanian local that I've spoken to has said that this is a great place to come with a book and maybe a picnic, and just if you want to chill. So that's why we're here. And it really wasn't that great, unfortunately. The flowers hadn't really been watered, people were just skateboarding, there was a lot of litter. I just didn't love it, so I walked out real quick. I definitely recommend the Rose Park over the Botanical Park, and I would recommend it for anyone who wants to have a long weekend in Europe, somewhere central, somewhere fun, somewhere different, but somewhere quite chilled out with a lot of history and architecture.